Juka Cisse. Welcome back to the Sister Show. We're super excited that you're joining us back here on our platform. And of course, if you don't already know, the Sister Show is a platform where we have honest conversation to inspire, empower pretty much everyone. We also bring you burning topics that hits home. And of course, let me say hello to my beautiful and lovely sisters. Hello, sisters. Hi, moms. Hi, Jay. Hi, Ole. Hi, Amy. Okay, I get the eye roll after I say hello, Amy. Okay, that's fine. You guys are used to that, I'm pretty sure. So on that note, let's jump right into this conversation today. We have a packed hour for you all. And of course, first on the list, we are going to play a game right off the top to warm everyone up and get them smiling. And hopefully you can enjoy it and continue to comment below. And the main topic of conversation today is going to be girls' health. We're going to have conversations about puberty, about sex education. So it's going to be quite sensitive, but very informative also. And what I'm more excited about today, and I think my sisters are all excited about it, and I think you will too, is the collaborations that we've had over the past month with these amazing young girls and these amazing women organizations around Africa. And we will bring you that later on the show today. Also, we will be bringing you all hot soup conversation, and hopefully you all have been enjoying the hot soup that we've been having here. So let's jump right into this and see who's gonna win this game. And I think the game is called What's on Your Plate, right, ma'ams? What And by the way, we're filming super early, so everyone is kind of like haven't ate, but I think Ole, you already ate, so you're eating again.
Luca, you already ate. You ate like a whole sandwich and like 3 eggs.
Okay, thank you for putting me on blast. Okay.
Like, that's on your plate? Really?
Okay, what are you eating? Bread. And it's probably white bread. Wow. Okay, Ole. So let's see. I think I'm already going to win this. Because between Amy and Ole, if you agree with me, Jay, who's more health conscious?
No, I think it's Juka.
Oh, I'm talking about Amy and no, I'm not even including you in the two of them. Like,
oh, so I'm that much of a lead.
Yeah,
thank you.
It will be a duh question.
Okay, but I'm going to be honest with Amy. Amy has a moment. Sometimes she gets like super healthy, keto diet. I'm going to be super healthy, like workout. And she just goes crazy. And then sometimes you see Amy and you know.
Hold up, Juka. Who told you keto diet is healthy? Okay?
Keto diet is not healthy?
No, there's some healthy keto diet, which Amy does not obviously do. Amy just does keto diet, okay? Not healthy keto. If you just do straight up keto diet, you can raise your cholesterol so much that you can end up with a stroke.
So when I do keto diet, I make sure that I don't do keto diet like a year straight. I make sure that I actually am doing keto just to get snatched.
Is that healthy?
It's not.
I don't know.
Be a lifestyle. It's not.
I'm not trying to be healthy. I'm trying to lose weight.
You're superficial.
I think it's clear that I'm way healthier than Amy. So I'm going for Juka. Between Juka and I, who's healthier?
Well, let's just give this one to Juka, please.
Thank you.
Who's eating white bread whilst we're filming?
White bread is healthy.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad.
Turn by turn, everything.
For LOL Moments Tips right now, don't forget to comment and play along right below. Let's go.
Done by God.
How many calories do you need to lose in one day in order to lose 1 pound in a week? And I can give you guys multiple choice options.
Okay. Please do. My brain is like...
A would be 1,000, B would be 500, C 300, 4 2,000.
500 pounds.
Yeah.
No,
500 calories. You mean?
I mean calories.
Okay, 500 calories. That's right. That's right, Lay. 500 calories.
Yes. See? Who's the healthier
You
one?
clued it. You guys clued it.
No, she didn't.
You clued it.
Between watermelon and banana, which one has more calories? If you can answer the next question, how many calories does a cup of watermelon have? And how many calories does one medium-sized banana have?
Okay, I'll answer the first one.
Okay.
Oh.
I raised my hand first.
No. Banana has more calories than watermelon.
I think watermelon has more calories than banana.
Banana has more calories, but how many calories do
Yes.
a cup of watermelon have versus a banana? So A is 50, B is 75, C is 40.
I'll say 75.
40.
Okay?
Was it watermelon or banana?
Watermelon.
Are you listening?
Evidently not.
Answer, Amy.
Amy, answer.
Can you give me the options again?
A 50, B 40, C 75.
Just
40.
like I said 75.
I said 40.
Just like
Okay, you two have it right. It's 40.
Ule, now, how smart are you? Like, really? You just said banana.
I know.
no. Hold on, what was the question? Wasn't the question how many calories are in
Ma'am, it's too late.
Which one of these vegetables has the most protein in it? A, spinach, B, cabbage, C, broccoli, and D, celery. And moringa, E.
Damn, Jay, you went up to E. That was hard.
Moringa.
I'll say broccoli because it's the most tasteless one.
Oh, wait, spinach.
Okay, Amy?
Finish.
All right, you all got it wrong. It's moringa. Juka, you should have stick with your answer. I don't know.
Well, Jay, why did you make it eat then? Because that's actually, I was going to go with moringa.
I know.
Made it eat.
That was the trick, because the first one, Ule was trying to cheat. Second question, which one of these contains the most vitamin C? A, apple, B, oranges, C, grapes, baobab.
Oranges. Oh, baobab.
No, you said oranges. Cancel Ole. Let's go. Amy, what do you
No,
say?
I said baobab. I can have a second chance.
Baobab.
All right, so you guys were paying attention to that COVID.
Yes,
Thank
I learned
you.
it from the COVID video.
Okay, good. I'm glad you guys have good memory.
Her first memory failed her though, because she said oranges. Let's move on. What's next, Kate?
So you have an aunt who is diabetic, who is visiting your house, and she wants you to make breakfast. Which one of these would you cook? A, oatmeal, B, rice pudding, and C, cream wheat.
A, B, and C, they're all healthy.
Okay, what's your answer, Juka?
I would say the wheat cream.
Oatmeal.
So both you and Juka are correct, except this special girl over here.
I am correct. I said A, B, and C, so it can be either one of them. So
A, B, and
Not B.
So the next one is who's most likely to order fill in the blank, and it's among the sisters.
We go to a restaurant, who's most likely just to order water? Just one person. Who's most likely, more than likely?
Jay.
I think the answer is J, because Juka would probably want to be fake and bougie and would want to order a virgin
you're
mojito.
right. She would order some type of a special water, right, to be bougie. Like,
No,
this
I'm
is like
not-
the latest healthy
it's gonna be a virgin daiquiri mojito, just so she could just be like, yeah.
It's funny, like I don't even know, to be honest with you, I don't even know the names of like the virgin drinks. Like she thinks she knows.
Juka, I can literally pull up a video right now from my phone that you have done this not once, not twice.
Amy,
Yes.
Amy, show the proof.
I swear, I would probably order tea, and that's why I'm allergic to tea now, Jay.
So I think we're all just saying that Juka is bougie, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's fancy.
Fancy.
Whoa,
Not bougie, but fancy.
Moms, thank you. Okay, this is what I'm gonna say. If Ole call me that and Jay, I'm gonna say, okay. Amy calls me bougie. Please kill me. Okay.
Amy, you bougie as bougie.
No, she's not bougie. She's bourgeois. All right. So if we have to go to an African restaurant that serves benachin, who's most likely to order quinoa benachin?
Juka. Okay, let me tell you something. Even if they have like regular benachin and there's no quinoa on the menu, she's going to try to tell the restaurant owner like how to make a quinoa benachin.
Exactly. She's probably going to bring her own quinoa.
But honestly, Dr. J, the rice is
I
not
wouldn't
good.
say it's not good,
We grew up eating rice our whole life. And
But,
nothing's wrong with us.
you know, moderation is key. When you're eating rice and you like
Thank
fill
you.
up the plate to like, you know, 500-pound plate. That's not good, but
Too much of anything is bad, Mama Ram. You're right.
Well, okay, but I know that rice, when I eat it, literally my stomach, it doesn't flow. Like, it's horrible.
I think that's in your head.
Dr. J, can you talk to Ole, please? Is that possible that IBS is like on my head? Anyways.
We'll have a discussion about this after the show because Ole would not get it. So
no, she will never agree. So the next one is, let's do the dessert. So if we go to a restaurant, if there's cheesecake or carrot cake, what will Ole order?
Carrot cake.
cheesecake.
Carrot cake.
I'm hoping she would order a carrot cake because that's one chance that she has to at least be able to eat some vegetables. But I'm not.
But you guys forgot. I already give you a hint.
I think Ole is most likely to order the cheesecake. Ole will look at the menu and look at the most unhealthy thing and think that that's going to be the thing that tastes the best.
I'm saying, have you ever heard of a person that they say, wow, that person ate quinoa, she ate veggies, and she has never died? Have you ever heard of that? So that's my philosophy.
So next up on this conversation, of course, as we mentioned, it will be girls' health. And under that, we will discuss puberty, menstruation, and sex education. It'll be sensitive but very informative conversation. So why is it important for us to discuss puberty and menstruation? Ladies, what is your take?
Puberty is such an important topic, especially when it comes to girls, because it's a point where they transition from being girls to adults, and it has to do with a lot of changes that is driven by hormones. So they go through a lot of physical changes, emotional, psychological changes. So it's an important topic for parents to have with their kids to kind of help them get through this rough transition in their lives. As you say, menstruation is kind of one of the changes that girls usually go through when they go through puberty. And it's also a topic that is very sensitive that a lot of women kind of shy away from discussing with their girls. So it's really important for us to be talking about this today.
So Dr. Mams, I agree, but I feel like in our society, especially Africans, this is not something that we openly talk about often. So we are almost like thrown into it, like figure it out, it's your body and you should know what to do, when no one actually tells you about it.
If you ask me, I'll just say we have been failed by society and how, I'll just say society in general. But I wouldn't just give society like 100% of the blame because my own experience is different, right, from everybody else's experience. I can't remember ever having a sit-down talk about menstruation with my parents at all, right? And when I was growing up, I think at that age where I was actually about to start getting, having my menstruation period, all of my siblings who were older than me have already like left the country. So there was not an instant where I had someone that I can really like talk to about it. And I didn't really have my period at an early age. Like I had my period like way later in life. I don't know why. Maybe Dr. J or Dr. Mams can probably touch on that if that's actually a health concern or not. So when it happened, I pretty much just had to figure it out. And I can't really tell you how I did, but I know my cousin, she lived with us, so I guess she probably had it before I did. So I kind of was able to just figure it out because of her own personal experience and what she has been through. But I never had a moment where I actually did have a sit down with any of my parents or anyone else around me.
So it's not just a difficult conversation for the parents, but also for the kids because it's such a taboo.
Yeah, it's not viewed in society as something normal because up like in an African household, parents don't really allow you to open up like that and talk about like those things, right?
Mm-hmm. So quick question. Who do you all think that should be the one to discuss this first? Is it the parents' responsibility or is it the child's responsibility? On top of that also, I do want to add, what about the schools? That's what I wanted to ask you, Amy. In our schools in Africa, I can't remember, right? Because I'm in my early 40s. So I can't remember. But were these some things that they teach us at the schools? I don't think so.
I think it would just be more of like, maybe like something in the science class, But there is nothing like oh, there's like a girls group that teaches you about this kind of thing.
I think there was a general ed, right?
There was like, you probably have it in some class conversations. I can't fully remember very well. I mean, like, because
for us, I think
in my late 30s, so.
For us, I think it was, there was a general ed class, I believe, but I can't remember the details, but I remember there was a class called general ed.
Dr. J, who do you think should actually address this? Is it the parents, the child, or the teachers?
It should be the parent, because like we said in the beginning, one of our episodes, that the parents should be the ones to establish this relationship between them and the kids, because it's very uncomfortable for the kid that is just trying to learn themselves. They're already, when you become a teenager, there's this psychological issue that's going on with the kid. They don't want other people to look at their bodies or talk about their bodies. So there's some psychological changes that affect the child. So as a parent, you should learn to know your child and be open enough with your child to be able to sit down and talk to them, because it's a very sensitive issue. You don't want a stranger or an outsider to intrude into your child's and talk about this. So like Amy just asked a few seconds ago about, she was worried about whether it was healthy for her to not have her period early. Most kids in Africa see their periods a little bit later. So puberty usually starts about age 8 to 16. So some kids may even have their period as early as 9 years old. Most kids in the US would have their period as early as 9. But
why is that?
I think it's a lot of hormonal issues, and also diet is a factor, because when you compare these kids in Africa and here, you can just look at their growth spurts, because that's what moms can tell you a little bit more, because that's her specialty. That's when puberty really starts. So when your growth spurt starts later in life, then obviously your period may come later. And kids that are also involved in sports may start their period a little bit later, and all of this is affected by hormones and all that stuff. So for a girl to have their period at the age of 16 is not abnormal. If that's the only thing that they have. They may have breast buds, like one of those are part of the puberty changes, having a breast or having hair growth in the private areas. Those are all signs. If they avoid every single one of them, at that point, you may further investigate. But if it's just a menstrual period that's not there, then it's not obviously abnormal. So but I think definitely the parents are supposed to be the one to introduce the conversation. Like Amy was saying, she feels like some of these parents or society failed us. Well, I can't really agree with that, in the notion that society itself has not been taught as to how to address this issue.
I totally agree with what Jay said about it being a topic that parents should bring forward with their kids, because you really, as a parent, want to be the first source of information to your kids. So I think that if the parent is not comfortable discussing certain issues, you can always find medical personnel, like get your child a gynecologic visit so they can see a doctor to go over all these issues with them. Although in Africa, you could say that, I mean, we don't have that luxury of, having an appointment with an OBGYN anytime that we want. That being said, it's still important to just let your kid at least have one GYN visit with a doctor who can go over all these things, because there's certain things that are normal during puberty, and there's certain things that are not normal. Like Jay was saying, sometimes we see kids that start puberty at like age of 9, but others would be delayed until age 15. And it has a lot of emotional impact on kids, because if you're going to school with the same kids and you, for example, are a late bloomer, maybe like Amy, because she was saying she saw her period very late, you could see those changes in others as something that should happen, but it's not happening to you, so you could feel a little bit insecure. If, on the other hand, you're someone that experienced puberty early and your mates have not experienced puberty, you could also see that as a sense of insecurity. See yourself as being changing in ways that is not normal, but in fact, it's actually normal. And as Jay was saying, the age that we should be concerned if our kid doesn't have their period is age 15. If you don't have a period at that point, it's important to seek help with a healthcare provider to start evaluation, because there's a lot of medical conditions that could cause you to not have your period.
Dr. Mams, you did mention that after the age of 15, I can't remember exactly what age mine was, but after the age of 15, you should be more concerned. And what health implications can it have after the age of 15?
There are a lot of health issues that could happen that can cause amenorrhea, which is lack of period. And one of them, I think Jay mentioned, like girls that are involved in sports, sometimes they don't see their periods. And our bodies are very smart in a way that if you are not in a very healthy space, your body would not push you into reproduction. So your brain usually shuts down when you're not healthy. Maybe you're in sports and you're so active that you're using a lot of your energy to play sports. Your body almost shuts down, your brain shuts down and tell your body that, hey, this person is not ready to have kids yet because you're using a lot of your energy in sport. Some kids would not see their period because of that. And sometimes it could be like some genetic problems where some kids don't have, like their vagina don't have opening. So you could be having periods, but the period is getting stuck behind your vagina because there's no opening. And that needs surgical intervention, even though that's not very common, but we do see that sometimes. And sometimes there are other conditions like PCOS, and there's just so many conditions, but it's important to get evaluated.
So Dr. Mams, Amy mentioned that the first time she saw her period, it lasted for like 20 days. So is that normal?
So, having periods for 20 days is not normal per se, but once you hit puberty, your cycle is not regular at that point. It takes almost 2 to 3 years before you get into a regular cycle. So having cycles that are like between 21 to 45 days is normal for a young lady that is just going through puberty, and even for like older ladies that are like kind of nearing their menopause. But after 3 years, your period should start getting regular.
There's one thing that you said that I don't think Africans we do. You mentioned something about taking your kid or your child to see a gynecologist in the beginning stages. That didn't happen for us when we were growing up. So do you think that also this is probably a good way to introduce your child to this new body?
Definitely, that's a great thing to do. It could be either the OBGYN or the family practice doctor. And this is the first time that this person or this kid has an opportunity to probably talk about what's going on with their bodies. So especially if the parent is uncomfortable addressing these issues, it is going to be wonderful for the mom to at least sit down and probably even learn about what's going on with the kid and be able to have these specific discussion with the doctor who can explain a little bit more into detail. Either the OBGYN, and especially those that are in Africa that's not easily accessible, they can still do it with their primary care doctor, which is their PCP.
I think Ole or Amy mentioned it, the long period of bleeding. I mean, I know I have fibroids, and I know a lot of people that are watching have fibroids issue. We're adults, we're older, but do children, young adults also have fibroid issues, or what is the cause of this long period bleeding?
First off, I just want to make something clear here. So normal menstruation would last between 2 to 7 days. If it lasts more than 7 days, then you should be concerned. 2, if you are not having any periods for at least 3 months, that's also a cause of concern. That is something that needs to be evaluated. Or if your cycles are less than 21 days or more than 35 days, that is if you are past puberty. If you're in puberty, it can be from 21 to 45 days. So these things are things that people should always have in the back of their mind and know that there are actually very bad health conditions. And fibroids is actually one of them, like you said. The problems that you have with fibroids depends on where exactly it's sitting in your uterus. Because if it's outside of your uterus and it's a large size, it can cause pelvic pain or like pain with urination. But if it's in the lining of your uterus, it can cause you to have very heavy bleeding. If anyone experiences this, it's just better to seek help with a doctor than to just kind of sit through it.
So Dr. Ma'am, that's a lot of great information around fibroids. For me, what I've experienced is a lot of cramps, like when I'm going through my menstrual cycle, is a lot of cramps. And I do have to take sometimes a lot of medicine. Sometimes other things that I've gone through is my mood changes, right? I'm a little bit more snappy during that time of the month, as I guess most women. Another thing is I do have a lot of cravings. Like I crave a lot of sweets because I have a lot of cramps. So is there a way I can distinguish if it's like medical issues that I'm having or it's just natural?
Well, you must be on your period all the time because you always like sweets anyway.
No, but I like extra sweets during that time.
So having period cramps is normal, but if the pain is so excruciating that it cannot be alleviated by pain medication like ibuprofen and other things that help with period cramps, including exercise, I'm not sure if that would be so appealing to you, or using like warm compressors. Yeah, ibuprofen helps unless you have like really bad asthma, as like for the kids, if they have really bad asthma, sometimes you don't want to give them ibuprofen. And sometimes some women have a condition called endometriosis, which can cause a really bad period cramps. And if you're someone that your period cramps is like stopping you from doing your daily activities, from like going to school or going to work, then it's probably something that needs to be evaluated. When you're growing up, you have a lot of changes in your body. There is so much name calling. Like even parents would do it, will call their kids names, like telling them, you know, this, like I said, it's a very sensitive period for kids, so I think we should be very cognizant of what we, you know, how we talk to kids around this period. This is very common in Africa. Like they love name calling and body shaming, and I think it's a culture that we need to break away from.
I think a lot of parents also do not even think of it as harmful, like it's just cultural, right? So I guess it's raising awareness that that's a very sensitive time period of the kid's life, and anything that you tell them is probably going to stick with them when they grow older.
I remember every time my mom got mad at me, like sometimes she would say, I would dinadil bakubidor loko sa dinabi. Ngawaki sa dinabi. So when I was walking like this, right? But when she gets mad at me, she would say, if I'm walking by her, or if she tells me to do something and maybe I didn't do it as fast enough or something, she will make us a joking threat or whatever. Like, I'm gonna take this and beat you in your chest, and then you walking like this. But I was confused as a kid. I didn't know how to take that. And I remember after that, maybe I started like deliberately putting my shoulders forward like this. When girls are having these body changes, what are some of the things that the parents could try to be cognizant of?
Some people do it. It's not really just them doing something bad in the house and somebody is just trying to like threaten them to just make sure that they get it right. Like it's not like a discipline action. This is something that some people actually do to their kids because, you know, they don't want them to be
Growing too fast.
To be growing too fast. They don't want society to see them as, oh, okay, now she's an adult and men are gonna start now wanting her and loving her. So they'll actually, now that you say this, like it kind of like came to my head, they'll actually take, it's like a wooden spoon, and I think they heat it up or something, and then they beat it on the girl's chest so that their chest will go back. Mama, you've never heard of this?
Growing up, I used to take the white thing that comes from the mango because they say that will make you not grow fast, and I'll put it like on my breast so it doesn't grow fast.
That makes sense, Ole.
You guys never heard of that?
I remember that.
Yeah, like many mango, you pick it and then you put it on your...
Wait, Amy said something about the wooden spoon. So do you mean like they would take the wooden spoon and heat it up to flatten your chest?
Listen, I have never witnessed where people have done it, but I know it. Maybe someone watching will probably have had an experience or have seen someone that it has happened to. Just leave a comment down below. Explain to us like what normally happens. But I know for a fact that it has happened.
And maybe that's why mom would say, I'm gonna take the wooden spoon and beat you up. Because I couldn't. Now it makes sense, Amy. Maybe that's what it was. Because
I bet you as a young girl, Juka will probably always want to walk like this, and my mom will probably be like, get that chest down.
So as your breast is growing, just like after you have a baby and you don't want to breastfeed, and moms can interject in this, you are supposed to tie your breast so that way the milk production would reduce. I think it's the same probably analogy or concept they're wanting to use by applying something of a flat surface to press it down. That will be something that I can think of. But the more you stimulate the breast as the person is growing, the breast will get bigger. I can't remember the name, but it's almost like a little ant that crawls.
I remember that one.
And they'll put it on their breast so it will be stimulated so they can get bigger breasts. These are things that are done in some African countries. So if you're trying to grow a breast, the more you stimulate it, the bigger it will get, because naturally God is trying to help your body produce milk. So that's why when you have a baby and you try to breastfeed, the more the baby sucks on the breast, the more milk production you have.
Mom, did I hear you right? You just say putting insects on your breast so it grows bigger?
Well, I just remember as kids when we played, we would find these little insects called mama couscous, and people used to say if you want a bigger breast, you just put it on your breast, and then that will help your breast to grow. Totally a myth, but kids do that in the past.
Why didn't they call it juca or something else?
I didn't even know what it was called. I didn't even know the name. I had no idea that, but that's what they do to stimulate their breast to grow bigger. So,
Dr. Moms, did they name it after you, Mama Couscous?
Mama. Kids in Gambia probably know this. Maybe, I don't know where you grew up.
Where did the word Mama Couscous come from? And if you guys are watching from any other country, what other ways did you guys use to actually grow your breast? And I have a feeling Amy used a lot of Mama Couscous growing up.
I sure probably did.
Wait a minute, we're gonna cut that out.
So, okay, let me clarify so you guys don't get confused and go get a whole bunch of mama couscous on your breast and then you get an infection, okay? Or you end up getting mama couscous inside your skin and you say, Dr. J said, no. What I was trying to say, where the idea came from or the concept maybe is related to the fact that the more stimulation you have on your breast, the bigger your breast gets, especially when you're breastfeeding for milk production so you can feed your baby. And if you don't want to breastfeed, you don't want to stimulate your breast. You want to compress your breast by using either something tight, or some people may even use a girdle to tie their breast so that way they don't produce milk. Okay, let's get that clarified because I don't want Amy to go get some people or me get some
mama
here.
I'm not selling mama couscous off the streets.
I'm not selling mama couscous either, okay?
So anyway, that was funny, but I know for a fact that there's a lot of like myths and facts that surrounds this whole conversation when it comes to puberty or when it comes to menstrual period. What are some of the myths and some of the facts?
So maybe you and Ole Amy can go ahead and answer these questions if it's a myth or fact, and then we'll see if Dr. J and Dr. Moms can correct us. And of course, the audience, please don't forget to continue to comment before you get the answer right. Let's see if you guys get it right. Don't forget, we give prizes here, so communicate and have a conversations below. Period is considered as dirty blood that must come out. Myth or fact?
Myth. You guys are actually correct. Maybe we should ask Ole for the rationale. So Ole, why do you think that was a myth?
It's a myth because it's basically the egg that turned into blood.
Wait, when you mentioned the egg, I was like, ooh, she's going somewhere with this.
Right,
and then you said the egg turned into blood. I was like, ooh.
Hey, no, that's what Fatima said.
Fatima is her 13-year-old daughter. Okay.
So let's get it right. When you hit puberty and you begin menstruation, like I said, your brain makes certain hormones that it sends to your womb, your uterus, and your ovaries, your eggs. So every month you would ovulate. That is, your ovaries would release one egg that is potentially gonna be fertilized if you have sex, and that would turn into a baby. Your brain also sends hormones to your uterus to kind of prepare the lining of your uterus to be well fertile for it to carry a baby. Just like when you're doing agriculture or doing gardening, you tend to like get it ready. So it's the same thing. The lining of your uterus get thickened with a lot of blood vessels to accommodate that fertilized egg to have a baby. But if that doesn't happen, if you didn't have any sexual intercourse and there's no fertilization of that egg, then the lining of your uterus will just shed out. So that's totally normal when it happens.
So Ole was close. She wasn't too far.
It's a quick description. The egg turned into blood. That's pretty much what it is.
Okay, so the next one is you can get pregnant if you have sex during your period. Comment below. Ole and Amy, what's the answer? Myth or fact?
Myth. Oh, hold on, no. Fact.
No, you can't change your answer.
No. Fact. I just forgot. Fact. I didn't forget. I just
That's a
went
fact.
somewhere else.
Just a clue. Do you guys remember what Dr. Moms just said?
Oh, Yeah, because if you don't blah blah blah, you shed blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you are not ready to have a baby, okay? And you shedding that lining that was supposed to be ready for you to get pregnant. So it's already shedded. So the there's no manure, there is no what do you call tusk to make that baby even attach and grow, or the egg and the sperm to even attach and be fertilized. So how are you guys going to get pregnant?
So you cannot get pregnant.
Oh, hold on. That's a big question. I was reading it the opposite way.
Oh.
Okay, so let's go the opposite way. Having menstrual sex is unhealthy and will kill a man.
You mean hold on, you mean having sex whilst on your period will kill a man?
I said what I said when I said what I said.
No. But say it in a more.
Okay, you want me to lock all off? Okay.
Okay, I think Amy doesn't know the answer. That's why she's like.
No, I do, but I'm just trying to. First of all, it's nasty. Second of all, it's just a myth. I don't think a man will die, but I think that's just quite disgusting.
It's actually haram, depending on what your values are, what your beliefs are. But according to Islam, it is haram. But obviously, it would not kill a man, and you would not get pregnant. But it's actually haram.
Okay, so the next one is using tampon can break the hymen and take a woman's virginity. Is that myth or fact? Ole and Amy.
Myth.
That's definitely.
Maybe growing up as young kids, I could see a young girl thinking that if they do it, it could actually do that, right?
I actually believed it. I thought it was true. Because, I mean, if you look at a tampon and then...
Okay, we got it. Ole, go ahead.
In Africa, I don't really even think there's a lot of tampons. I don't know now, but it's very common just to use pads.
So it can stretch your hymen, but it wouldn't break it. The only time that a woman loses her virginity is when they have sexual intercourse with a man.
Is it true that when every woman loses their virginity, they have to see blood? Because I know that's like a whole other discussion, but just a quick question. Yeah?
Most people would lose blood because the blood is usually just from bruising and like just a trauma. Sometimes a woman don't have like the hymen, or they can lose it when they're riding a bike, or something could have happened prior to when you have your first sexual intercourse. So those two things are very different.
That's really interesting that you could actually lose your hymen just by riding a bicycle, or it sounds like even having an accident.
Yeah, it could be related to trauma, like a very bad trauma. It shouldn't necessarily be a sign of checking if a girl has ever had a sexual intercourse or not. I think that's the culture that we have.
Yeah, parents.
Let's move on to the next one. Can your period make you rack up a credit card? I think that's an American or Western problem. I don't think that's an African problem.
But I think that's a fact too, right? Can't your hormonal changes make you like impulsive buyer at that point? I'll say it's a fact.
That means you're just a shopaholic. That's it.
I think that's probably related to more hormonal levels and how people deal with depression. When your estrogen is low, most people tend to get a little bit more depressed. That's why they're a little bit snappy, like Ole said, and some people like here, Juker and the rest of them, overeating or eating too much sweets like Ole does.
So the last one on this is our cycle syncs up with our friends' period, our friends' cycles. Is that a myth or fact? Don't forget, keep commenting below.
I'll say that's a myth, but a lot of people actually believe it because it usually happens.
It's a fact because it happens too much, quite too often with me. Almost every single time.
Well, it's definitely a myth because every woman have their own cycle. There's just so many days in a month or in your cycle that you could have your cycle at the same time with your friend.
Okay, so that brings us to our next important conversation in today's topics, which is girls' health. And now we will talk about sex education. Do you think that our parents failed us by not talking to us about it and looking at it as taboos, especially Africans?
It's such an important topic that every parent should have with their kid, especially at the point where they reach puberty. Because like we mentioned before, this is a time where you go through a lot of changes, and that it's actually a time where your body is ready for you to start reproduction. And I think most of the time, the reason behind why some parents don't like to bring it up, for us in Islam, we believe that, and even as Africans, our culture and our value teaches to not have sex before marriage. So I think that's one point why they don't always bring it up. But it's important to just have the conversation with your kids because whether you like it or not, they're going to go out to seek information, because it's important for parents to be the first source of information for their kids, rather than just having your kids to go out in the streets or social media or the internet to find this information.
If you ask me, I would tell you that no parent, no African parent, I don't think anyone, not just us, but I think anyone has ever had this conversation with their child about sex. And, you know, coming back to your point, it's because of they just trying to, say no sex before marriage. So they don't even want to talk about it because they think it's actually just such a taboo, right? But I think what they don't understand is they're actually doing us more harm than good, not talking about it, because as kids, we're inquisitive. Like, we want to know more, but we would not be comfortable talking to our parents about it because they are running away from the conversation. And obviously, me not being comfortable also having the conversation, my mom or my dad is not the first person that I'm going to run to. So I definitely think most parents have failed at their kids and have failed us in general.
Amy, I see your point, but I disagree. It's a society that failed us, but not necessarily our parents, because our parents are also not equipped about such sensitive topics or how to address it. I think maybe there should be more education around it. Maybe when parents are pregnant, during the time that they're going for their doctor's visits, maybe doctors also have opportunity to educate us as parents.
So Ole, you're trying to take the responsibility from the parent now and then putting them on the blame and putting the blame on the doctors.
I'm not saying the parents are not the ones responsible to have the talk, but I'm saying they have to have the tools, right, to be able to have those type of conversations, because it's a very, very sensitive conversation, and a lot of us do not really know like where to get the information from. So I feel like the doctors, as well as the teachers too, all have responsibilities to help. But yeah, of course, it's the parents that should be the forefront.
So this is what I don't understand. Okay, and this is where I disagree with you like 110% late. So you want to tell me that, oh, my mom gave birth to me, but now it's not her responsibility. Wait a minute, okay?
That's not what I said.
But hold on, let me finish, right? Hear me out. It's not her responsibility, right, to educate me on sex and all other issues that I have to deal with. But now it's also society's responsibility and my teacher's responsibility to educate me on those things. How about if that person in society has some sort of like feelings for me and is teaching me about certain things that is for his or her advantage, right? Now, hold on, that's point one.
That's a complete different topic.
No. But you cannot say it's a complete different aspect because your point is it's also the teacher's responsibility to teach and educate the child. But how if the teacher has some feelings for me, the teacher is going to tell me, hold on.
Your mind is going to the
hold on.
You shouldn't even put the two together. That's a whole separate conversation.
But
all I'm saying is in all of Africa, and actually even in the US or the Western world too, parents find it like extremely difficult to approach this conversation. So all I'm saying is there should be like more tools out there, because like moms, like Dr. Moms and Dr. J said, this is like an extremely important topic. And because not just important, because it can affect our health, right? So usually as we are growing up, we are being taught about, okay, you have to be honest, you shouldn't lie and cheat, etc. Because as a society, that's like very, very common. Like you're taught that at your household, and you also taught that at the school. So what I'm saying is it should also be made like a mainstream as part of us growing up, and provide more tools to the parents.
I get what you're saying, right? I get what you're saying about the parents. They should be provided with more tools. So who's that? Society. Who's that?
By society, I mean the healthcare providers, right? Because usually they're more comfortable. They already have all the health information. So it would be good for them to approach that topic. And also, of course, it's on the parents' onus also to reach out to their healthcare providers. I recently spoke to my daughter, and I know they do teach a limited amount of reproductive system, but they do not go into the details because there were a lot of pushback from some of the parents.
I'm going to take my stand, and I still believe what I believe, right? My point here is, this is America. we have viewers all over the world. A parent that lives in Africa, what sort of resources would they be able to have, especially coming from an OBGYN? How many parents even go or take their kids to a doctor's visit regularly? I'm not even talking about OBGYN, I'm talking about just like a family doctor. We don't see that quite often, right? Now,
but
if a parent is going to be very comfortable with coming right to my face to tell me you can't have a boyfriend at this age, you should be able to also come back and tell me why sex is not good at this age, what is important, what is not important.
Dr. J, what do you think about what Amy and Ole are saying right now?
I'm just sitting back here and I'm just enjoying the two of them going at it, which is fun. I cannot 100% believe what Amy said that they failed us because most of it is cultural. The fact that they don't have the experience or the knowledge to do it, they should continue to seek knowledge. So I think all parents have a responsibility to go seek knowledge, to know how to take care of their kids.
So Jay, today you're doing what I did on the other show. So you're on both sides.
No, because I don't want to blame. I just don't want to blame a blame game to say that they failed us. Yes, they should take responsibility. But the title of failure is so heavy that for a parent, I don't think their intention is to fail. They themselves don't have the knowledge, and that goes back. It's a cycle. So our grandparents did not teach our moms did not teach us. But luckily for us, we're here now and we're more knowledgeable because we seek that knowledge. So we hope that the cycle breaks up here.
So if the cycle doesn't change here, with the information and the tools that are out there, is it the parents' fault? Do you guys agree with Amy?
The cycle is not even going to change here.
And that's why we are here. We are saying this cycle has been going on for so long. In order for someone to take responsibility or take an action, they have to know that they're at fault. They have to know that there is an issue. So we are coming on here to say there is an issue in society.